Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from the Brown Hamster and says, "Am I the arsehole for putting my foot down and not adding my husband to the deed?" Background: I, 29 female, have known and been with my husband, 33 male, for the past 4 years and married for 2 years. I started working when I was 21, right after my bachelor's degree. After 2 years of working, I bought myself a house. Nothing fancy. I bought the land and built the house. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-floor house. I got to know and date my husband in 2019. The construction of my house had finished by then. He lived in a different country, so when he visited me, I took him to show my house. I'm very proud of it. It is something I built with my own money and I own it, however small. After our wedding, I moved to the country where he was already staying. We split our bills and rent equally. We both work in IT and earn pretty good, so we're planning to buy a house. We found a place we liked and can afford. We are putting both our names to the deed because both of us are paying for it together. The problem arose when he said he wanted his name added to the house I bought by myself. I'm not comfortable doing that, and I said so. He said it's unfair that I have 2 now, and he would have part on 1. I said it was his bad plan for not buying a house before. I bought that house before I knew he existed and with my own money. Since he had no contribution to it, I'm not obligated to make him feel good by adding him to the deeds. He then proceeded to call his family. While his sister and brother-in-law support me, his mum and dad said that it's not about the money, but it's about the togetherness, and whatever it is should be for the both of us or none. I said I am sorry, but this is not happening. He will never be in the deed even if he pays his share, which he and his family thinks he should not because it's ours, not mine or his. Because I know how much I struggled to have that house and make it happen. Now his mum and dad are saying I disrespected them by saying this. Am I the arsehole? Edit 1. Both of us are from the same country. We are on a visa in a different country and we work there. We are planning to buy a house where we work on visa. We are allowed to do that. We are planning to stay 5 more years at least, so buying a house made it seem logical. In my country, we don't have a prenup culture. I did tell him earlier that this was mine and I won't ever give it to anyone. Unless I am dead, in which it will go to either my kids, if I have any, or the charity. Edit 2 because someone pointed this out. My husband's family has generational wealth. I don't. It has never depended on me for anything. We married because we love each other. It has nothing to do with money, at least in my case. Edit 3. I'm sorry if it looks like I am entitled when I say that I bought the land from my dad in a comment. I did buy it from him for real cheap, but I paid off all the construction costs, material costs, labor costs, etc. by myself. I even plastered and painted the walls myself when I was a little low on money. I think this makes it valid for me to be proud of what I did. I'm from a developing country and I'm sorry that you have to shit on me if just the land came for cheap and I paid and did everything. I've cut tiles myself and mixed paints and watered the cement, so hell yeah, I am proud and have an emotional attachment to that place. Edit 4. I'm not in the US. Any property I own before marriage or after, if it has my name on the deeds, it belongs to me alone. I can choose to register it in anyone else's name if I want, or register a power of attorney, or register someone as a co-owner later. It's completely up to my discretion. We do not have a communal property law. Now, I won't go into the prenup comments on this one simply because OP seems to say they don't really mean anything in her country. I would still suggest obviously going to talking to a solicitor, lawyer, whatever it need be to get that confirmed, because you see stories of people, once they're married, what's yours is theirs and all this kind of stuff. Obviously I don't know the full ins and outs of that, so don't jump on me about that one. But it was a huge red flag for me when he said, wow, it's unfair that you got 2 and he's only got part of 1 and you should be sharing, and then gets his parents and his family involved to try and pester you about this. But not your effing problem, says you have a serious husband problem. First, no, it is your house. He didn't contribute any of it. So no, don't add him to the deed. But second, he called his family to push you into what he wanted. International Yam says not the arsehole. In most cases I would think otherwise. In this case you already owned one house, but bought a second with your husband. I'm wondering if there are any big differences to his previous country and the one you are living in now. Did he marry you for a better lifestyle to support his family, or are the countries pretty similar? Exciting Peanut says not the arsehole. I'm so happy seeing someone draw the hard line. It's not fair. Well, nothing is stopping him from buying a house solely with his own funds. Though I don't know why you would want kids with him. He's just going to cry to mummy every time he doesn't get his way. You have a husband problem where he thinks he's entitled to your property, doesn't respect you. One more comment from Chocolate Candy Bar who says, lol, nice try parents. Reverse situation, they would say you're a gold digger. Anyway, don't listen too much to their reasons, because their only real reason is to gain some advantage to their son by marrying you. It's a good thing because you now know they'll never be on your side in case of cheating or abuse, and you can consider yourself free to not put much effort into the relationship. Not the arsehole. OP comes in with her update and starts off saying vote of thanks, saying 1. Thank you for all the insights and suggestions from all the enormous number of people that invested their time into reading it. 2. A lot of people suggested I bring in my parents and make it even. I didn't want to take that route because 2 wrongs don't make a right and too many cooks spoil the broth. 3. Finally, for all the people who have submitted their decisions whether you're the arsehole or not the arsehole, thank you. I like to read all the perspectives. Update. I talked to my husband and I told him all my insecurities regarding the matter. I told him how I put my blood and sweat into it, how I have spent nights without sleeping and a few without eating to finish it, how I have plastered and painted the walls by myself. He was very understanding. He told me he didn't know all that and what that means to me. He is fine with not being added to the deed. I suggested him to buy another place which is just his, and since it's not the end of the world and we will earn more, we will buy even more assets in the future, and he was fine with all the suggestions. Talking to his parents, he told them that is not happening. They're still upset and think I am wrong, and they did say so. This time, however, he told them it's not their decision to make, and it should not bother them. We are building a life together. He was wrong to bring them into it and apologized for that. I apologized for just blurting out things without giving reasons, and we decided to communicate and talk more when it comes to decisions. He suggested weekly sit-downs where we just sit and talk stuff about our future, about our day, anything that is making us unhappy or scared or happy, anything at all. That would be the time for us alone. I did show him the post and he laughed at it. Got a little sad that I would rather tell a bunch of strangers about my fears but him, and we will work on it. Now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Edition Familiar 655 and says, am I the arsehole for kidnapping my baby, causing my husband to have a panic attack? I, 29 female, recently started working again after having my daughter. Daycare is too expensive, so my husband, 35 male, reluctantly agreed to stay home. It's important to know that he's been unemployed since 2021. He receives benefits. It's also important to know that he's extremely lazy. He doesn't cook, clean, or help out in any way. I was nervous about leaving her home with her father, but I had no choice. When I came back from work, she was clean and sleeping. Next few times I came home, he was either playing with her, feeding her, or out for a walk with her. I was happy. A few days ago, my neighbor told me that as soon as I leave, the baby cries and she cries for hours. My neighbor said that she knocked on our door and he finally answered it. He was sleeping. I concluded that he sleeps all day and right before I come home, he pretends to care for her. I decided to take the day off of work. I left home at my regular time, waited 30 minutes and then went home. Sure enough, he was knocked out of sleep with his stupid noise-cancelling headphones on. I went to my daughter's room, scooped her up and took her to my friend's house. I waited about 2 hours and I finally called him to tell him I was coming home early. He called me back saying that he can't find the baby. He told me that he was going to call the police, but before he did, I told him what I did. He called me an arsehole and a lot of other words too. When I got home, his mother was there, calming his nerves, because he has a panic attack. She also called me an arsehole. My husband decided to sleep at her house. Family members are telling me that I'm a terrible person. I know that it was extreme, but I don't know if I would consider myself to be an arsehole. English isn't my native language. Sorry about the grammar. First mini update within the same post and says, sorry I created this account just to post my story. I'm not a big Reddit user. I missed so many wonderful messages from people. The last few days have been crazy. Once I finally told everyone what happened, many took my side. My ex-husband and mother-in-law still think I'm a jerk. My friend allowed my daughter and I to move in with her, which is nice. We were living in a bad area before, so this can be a fresh start. My ex-husband has not asked to see my daughter for the past week. Online, he's saying how I ruined his youth by trapping him with a baby. I don't care anymore. I'm in a nice routine with my daughter. I took her to the hospital and they found signs of neglect. I explained the situation. The doctor advised me to press charges against my ex-husband. I think I will. But I'm safe. My daughter is safe. To be honest, I probably won't come back on Reddit, but I wanted to thank everyone for everything. So, in the relevant comments, Realistic Head says, not the arsehole, your poor little baby. How he apparently is caring for her is outrageous and should not be allowed to continue. I mean, you're able to come into the house, remove your child, and he just slept through it. Wow. Why is your husband unemployed? Does he have some sort of health issue? Is it normal or healthy to sleep as much as you say he does? If he is just lazy, well, take a hard look at that. Is this the type of partner you want? You may very well be looking at the life you have ahead of you, so I'd really take a hard look at your situation. Opie says he's unemployed because he was hurt at work, but he's honestly fine. Another commenter says someone could have actually kidnapped your child, or she could have got sick or choked or needed a nappy change. He is neglecting your child. I cannot believe his mum, her grandmother, hasn't torn him a new one over this. Find a good childcare and leave him. I do not encourage divorce usually, but I'm not sure I could ever trust that man again. Ditto his mum, not the arsehole. Opie says the daycare that I can get her into won't take her until she's 6 months old. I'm going to have to change my schedule. I can work all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My mum, sister, friend and cousin will help me a bit until I can get her into daycare. Rachie182 says take her to a doctor to be checked over. Get it recorded so he can never get custody of her. Opie says I did take her later that same day. She only had a bit of weight loss. Absolute abuse, and that is terrifying. Just leaving a 4-month-old like that and putting noise cancelling headphones on and just sleeping all day. Gee whiz. OP sort of updated the post and said, a few months ago I made a post about my ex-husband. Since then we've had little to no communication except through a third party because we have a daughter together. He does absolutely nothing for her. He asked for full custody because he didn't want to pay child support. I finally got him to agree to supervise visits and 0 child support. The last 3 months I haven't spoken a word to him and he hasn't seen our daughter. But recently he's been telling me about his hot 18-year-old girlfriend. His reason why he told me is because we agreed to tell each other about our relationship since the person would interact with our daughter. But he always accidentally sending me nudes of bikini pictures of her, or accidentally sending me messages meant for her. The other day he told me he wants to have a baby with her. He's irresponsible and she's immature, so they would make horrible parents. But he wants me to carry their child. Why? Because her teenage body is so hot and sexy and I'm old and used. I have no idea why he'd even asked me. Why is he telling me about her body? Why does he want me to be involved in any sort of way? It's all so weird. A commenter says to OP, get him to confirm this request over text, then take him to court for full custody of your daughter, all the child support, and block him. Why did you agree to no child support? Please get what you are owed and cut him out of your life. What a disgusting pig. Fuck that guy. OP says it was by text. He's supposed to contact the third party, but he's recently been contacting me. That's only for emergencies. Salty all the time says he just wants to trigger you by showing off his child girlfriend. God knows what these young gals see in a guy double their age. Opie says he's unemployed, lives with his mum, can't drive because of a DUI, wakes up at 1 PM, hardly showers. Yep, he's a prize. Stray Jen says, oof, it sounds like he's a narcissist, and this is his very obvious, very sloppy attempt at triangulation. Ignore him. Also save those texts and bring them to your lawyer to see if you can completely remove him from visitation. This man doesn't deserve his daughters, and whether or not he pays child support, he should not be a part of your life in any way, nor hers. Imagine what lessons he's going to teach her by her observing his behavior and things he says. Eventually, he will start criticizing his daughter's body. He doesn't see women as people. Opie says she's the best thing that came out of this relationship, and I feel bad for her. I regret having a child with him. I don't regret her at all, but I hope you know what I meant by that. I would prefer if he just signed over his rights. Gee bloody whiz. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. Doesn't have an update as yet, but from Awkward Nerve 6154 and says, am I the arsehole for telling my mother-in-law she won't be seeing my baby after throwing a baby shower for herself? My husband and I are expecting our first child. We moved to be closer to his family. I'm no contact with mine. My mother-in-law has been referring to the baby as her baby this entire time. She will say things like, I can't wait for my baby to be born. My baby is going to be so loved. This rubs me the wrong way for reasons I cannot explain, but my husband tells me to ignore her. My mother-in-law wanted to throw me a baby shower and invite her friends. She said they made an agreement a long time ago that they would celebrate each other's weddings and births. My husband and I eloped and declined a reception for her friends since we don't know them. My mother-in-law told me that I owed it to her to let her throw the baby shower since I hurt her friends' feelings by not having a wedding reception. I asked if I could invite my friends and she said no, that this was for her friends and that if my friends wanted to throw me a shower, they could. I reluctantly agreed. My husband and I spent hours on our registry, and my mother-in-law asked for it so she could share with her friends. She said she forwarded the registry on. She asked me what design I wanted on my cake and cookies. I told her flowers because I'm decorating the nursery in a garden theme. At the shower, they provided me with a mother-to-be sash and my mother-in-law a granny-to-be sash to wear. I noticed that the theme of the shower was circus animals. The cake had an elephant and balloons on it, and the cookies were animals. At first, I thought that maybe the floral theme was just too difficult, so I rolled with it until it was time to open presents. Every present was some sort of circus animal. Onesies, blankets, toys, nothing on my registry. I was a little confused and even went so far to check my registry to make sure I hadn't goofed up and changed everything. I thanked everyone for their gifts and tried to sound as gracious as possible. I was so confused. My husband, who is a little less tactful than I am, showed up at the end and noticed the theme right away. He goes, "What's up with all the circus animals?" He looks at the presents and says, "This isn't what we asked for." Then he looked at his mum and goes, "Mum, what did you do?" She smiled and said, "I didn't like the theme you chose for my baby. I'm going to decorate my baby's nursery at my house with circus animals, so I created a registry for myself." My husband said, "You did what?" She says, "My baby is going to need a room at my house, so I threw a shower for myself." I lost my composure and told her she would not see my baby and to stop calling the baby hers. My husband told his mum that she's delusional if she thinks we're going to allow this. She started crying and said we're just withholding a baby from her. We've been getting texts from his family since the shower, calling us selfish and ungrateful, saying we ruined her joy of being a grandma. Are we the arseholes? Now, immediate vibes that the rest of the family isn't getting the full story here. Any rational thinking person isn't going to be calling you an arsehole or ungrateful in this situation if they really knew what mother-in-law did. And I gotta admit, my creepy radar's going off on this one as well. She's giving me the ick that she's gonna have the baby and this is my baby. And she's gonna start getting real possessive when that baby comes. I mean, it sounds like she already is already. Wonderful Set says, not the arsehole. Make sure if she has keys to your home, locks are changed. Make sure you invest in security cameras. Let the hospital know your mother-in-law is to be nowhere near your baby. Let them know you and your husband are the only two that fill out any paperwork. Honestly, no contact from the start. That way she has no grandparents visitation case. Document every creepy thing she does. Call your doctor and tell your pediatrician at the time The password protect your medical information. Your mother-in-law is unhinged, and this has hands that rock the cradle vibes. I thought the exact same thing. I remember watching that film when I was younger with my mum, and it's always freaked me out, but pondering out loud says, what the heck did I just read? Like, just how creepy can your mother-in-law get? She's pretty much trying to steal your child from you, so heck no, you're obviously not the arsehole. There is nothing wrong with a good grandmother expecting her grandchild to come over for sleepovers. There is nothing wrong with a grandmother to prepare a bedroom for that. There is nothing wrong with a grandmother deciding the theme for that room. But your mother-in-law took it to an unacceptable level of creepiness. She had no right to throw a baby shower for herself. That is not what baby showers are for. If she wanted gifts from her friends, fine, but she, 1, should have been honest up front. 2, shouldn't have called it a baby shower. 3, shouldn't have led you to believe you'd receive gifts from your registry. Likewise, she had no right to put herself at the same level as you with those sashes. Most of all, she absolutely has no right to call your baby hers. And that BS needs to stop. This is decidedly not about her being a grandmother, and that's precisely the issue at hand. She doesn't see herself as a grandmother, she sees herself as your baby's mother, or at least at the same level as you, and that is not okay. Cheers for your husband for finally stepping in. He should have trusted your intuition, but at least he's now taking your side. And that's pretty much the way the comments went, like creepy level behavior. But what do you guys make of this situation? Maybe you got another take on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.